Hey, what's up, fellas? How you doing, man? Antonelli here.
Hey, what's going on, guys? How we doing? Man, Antonelli here. So Major League Baseball is back. I've had a lot of fun the last couple of days watching it. And one storyline that a lot of people have given attention to, and a lot of people have wrote into me on YouTube on different comments, I've seen it all over the place, is Daniel Bard back in the big leagues. And he got a win last night. Now, if you follow my channel, and you followed it for a while, you know that Daniel Bard was like my arch nemesis in baseball. Like, I couldn't hit him. I've talked a bunch. I get asked all the time. Maybe the most popular question that I get is, who's the hardest pitcher or the hardest pitchers that you've ever faced during your baseball career? And my answer is there's a couple of guys, but usually it always starts with Daniel Bard. So we're going to let's talk a little bit about his story. And then I'm going to talk more about facing him if you have not seen my channel. So last night for the Colorado Rockies, Daniel Bard pitched for the first time in the big leagues in 7 years. That's unbelievable. 7 years. Back with the Red Sox, he was at one point with the Red Sox, and he was really, really dominant. He threw 100 miles an hour. He was a bullpen guy, and he was just plain filthy. The Red Sox tried to make him a starter. It didn't work out well, and then basically he kind of developed the yips where he couldn't throw a strike, and he didn't get back to the big leagues. And then eventually he was out of baseball. Now last year he was a mental skills coach or helping out with this with the Diamondbacks. Apparently he was playing catch, and he just felt better, and so he gave it another try. Now he's back in the big leagues. Last night, threw 20 of 25 pitches for strikes. Was throwing, I think, 98, 99 miles an hour, somewhere up there, and was dominant. So what a really, really just cool story. Now let's go back a little bit, because I want to tell you, again, if you haven't seen my channel, if you have, you've heard some of these stories before. But if you haven't, I just want to tell you how filthy of a pitcher Daniel Bard was. Some people might see him and say, man, who is this guy? I've never heard of this guy, right, if you're a little bit younger. But Daniel Bard and I are the same age. We almost went to the same school, so I almost went to UNC Chapel Hill. That's where he went. And so we ended up, I faced him every single year in college. I went to Wake Forest, and I could not hit him back then. I could never hit him. He threw 100 miles an hour. I remember this pretty well. We were playing at Wake Forest, and we had him on the gun, our pitchers. So if you weren't pitching, our pitchers would go up and gun the pitchers. And he came running down one time and said Daniel Bard hit 103 miles an hour on the gun. It doesn't surprise me, because the ball looked like 150. Now, I've faced guys in my career that threw 100 miles an hour, but the ball never looked as fast as it did when Daniel Bard threw. It looked like he was trying to throw the ball 50 miles an hour, and then the ball came out 100 miles an hour. So I could never, ever hit it. I think, this is not an official stat, but I believe I'm 1 for like 30 against him in my career. The one hit came in the Cape Cod League. I swung. I got jammed so bad the ball popped up. It kind of went over his head a little bit. It was a very low pop-up. He kind of stumbled back. The ball fell over his head in the middle of the diamond and middle of the infield, and I got a single on it. I hit the ball about 70 feet. And that was like my only hit against him, okay? Another interesting Daniel Bard story was in the minor leagues when he was with the Red Sox. And this is where, I don't know where the control issues kind of started from, because in college, he basically usually just mowed down a lot of guys. Now he'd walk guys every now and then, but I don't really remember seeing any yips. And if you don't know what the yips are basically just when you totally lose control. It's not just throwing balls, but spraying balls off the backstop and all over the place. Okay, but we played him one day in Single A when he was with the Red Sox, and I led off the game, and he struck me out like he always did. And it was like boom, 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 sit down. I was like, oh, beautiful. Anytime I knew that Bard was pitching, I was like, this is going to be a horrendous day. So I walked back. Well, he goes and lets the next 8 guys get on base. Right? It was like walks and hit by pitches and hits, and he just, all of a sudden, he was all over the place, and I was like, oh, geez Louise. So I go back up for my next at-bat in the inning. I get up there, boom, 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 strike 3, sit down. I was like, the freaking guy only throws strikes against me. I don't know what he had against me, But he was like, if he could find a way to get me to play against him for those last 7 years, he's been in the big leagues, been in the Hall of Fame, would never given up a hit. Like, I don't know why when I stand up there, he throws nothing but strikes and then couldn't throw strikes to anyone else. But anyways, that was the first time where I was like, geez Louise, like, he's kind of all over the place. And he got to the big leagues, like I said, with the Red Sox, and he was really dialed in. He was a starter in the minors when I faced him. Then he became a bullpen guy, and I don't know if that helped, but he had a really great year with the Red Sox. And then it kind of, the yips came back and all that stuff. But I don't know, I saw this, a lot of people writing to me. It's just really, really cool that, he wasn't able to stay in the big leagues, a super talent, but he wasn't able to stay in for whatever reasons, a couple of mental things. He was able to battle through that. He was able to get some time away. And then he was able to come back and dominate, which is really cool. So I wish him a lot of luck. I hope he does really, really well this year and continues to do so. I'm going to have to watch the Rockies now so I can watch him pitch a little bit. So it can bring back terrible memories of me never, ever being able to get any hits. So anyways, good luck to Daniel Bard. Thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, give it a thumbs up, all that good stuff. Thanks to our Patreon or our patrons on Patreon for supporting the channel, and we'll talk to you later.